The principle is that they leverage the physical beatings to ultimately break you down mentally. That's the whole point of the whole process in the military, whether it's a boot camp or when you get to, BUDS, which is considered one of the toughest selections in the world. They break you down physically, which then inevitably breaks you down mentally and emotionally. And I feel like every guy's probably got a different answer, but for me, the mental aspect of it was where I was strong, because I was physically 150-pound skinny runt. So all I had was this, And so for me, getting through whatever the test was of the day started here and ended here. Where a lot of guys, you had Naval Academy athletes, you have even professional athletes that stop what they're doing to try and become a SEAL. And you're surrounded by some of the greatest athletes in the world that show up to BUDS to see if they've got what it takes. But for me, I was just a skinny little punk from Texas, but I knew that I at least had this part somewhat squared away, and it ended up being my biggest strength. So for me, it was all started here, ended here, and physically, I was mediocre. I was middle of the running pack. I was at the back of the pack on the swims. I was okay at the obstacle course, and and anything that took that mental aspect was probably the only place I excelled, which there wasn't much of, there's no written exams where I could go, look at how smart I am, There was a couple of tests here and there, but for the most part, it was all physical. So all I had was the mental side.
Wow. So, and what was it like when you finally achieved it, when you got through BUDS?
Well, one of the unique things about BUDS is you are constantly kept humble, right? And so for me, graduating BUDS, there was no like, haha, look at me, right? Look at what I did. It didn't exist, because you knew like, wait, this is just the beginning. Like, I got a long road ahead of me. You've got to get through. For me, I was a medic, so I had to go get through the Army Special Operations Medical School. And I was like, holy. And it's the platoon that decides when I get my trident. So I still had a multi-year path to go before I was actually going to put on the symbol that represents Navy SEAL. So when I graduated BUDS, I knew, well, this is just the beginning. I have a whole lot of I got to do. And so, there was no real big celebration. Of course, you have a moment when you're like, okay, thank God that's over. But now I got to go start the next stress test, right? And then the next one, and then the next one. So because of that process, most SEALs, I think, are pretty humble in the fact that we have what's called, or what I call, the new guy mentality. You're always a new guy, no matter where you show up, right? There's always somebody more seasoned, someone smarter, faster, stronger. And so the golden rule as a new guy is always volunteer for everything, always come in early, always stay late, and keep your mouth shut. And so I just maintain the new guy mentality, just like everyone else. And as long as you do that, then you're never really going to be in a position where you're pounding your chest and saying, look at what I've accomplished. Boy, I feel great about myself right now. If you don't get yelled at, or if you don't have one of your peers call you out and say that you fucked up, then that was probably a good day, because you're not going to get a pat on the back or get a, hey, good job from your buddies. If you get silence from your buddies after you've done something, then that means you've done it right. That's all you get.
Was there a moment when you finally put the trident on where you was like, a sense of pride or achievement at all?
With that, yeah. Not because you go, I earned this. It's because, oh, thank God they accepted me. Because back then, your platoon, right? You get put into a platoon. They're all wearing tridents, but you're not. And you're hanging out for about a year with these guys. And these guys are always watching you, judging you, ensuring that your character and your personality matches what the community is looking for. And so when the day comes that they say, hey, stand up against that wall. So you put your back up against the wall. They all get in single file line right in front of you. And the first guy has this trident in his hand. It's got 3 big, nasty, nail-like prongs on the back of it. And he sets it right on your chest, and then he rears back and he tacks it straight in, and those 3 nails go into your chest. And then the next guy in line knocks it in. And then the next guy decides, well, I'm gonna use a palm because that hurts more. And he smacks it in. And the next guy, and then the next guy. And once all 16 of your newfound brothers smash that thing into your chest, afterwards, yeah, you're happy, you're proud. Not because of the trident, but because, hey, these guys said I can, join their team. I'm part of them now. And I think that's the part that's missing now. Your peers these days don't get to decide whether or not you get a trident or not. And I think it's unfortunate because having your brothers decide when you get it is far better than a system of qualifications now decide when you get it. So it was an awesome moment, and it lasts a split second because after that they're like, all right, new guy, go get your shit squared away. We're leaving in 5 minutes. And that's it. That's the celebration. And then you move on.
As many of you know, we are independent creators and filmmakers, but there is a massive attack on us right now. Traditional media over the last few years has started to slowly die. They are no longer the independent voice that you first thought they were. That's why we've created Mulligan Brothers Patreon. We've built something special for our most dedicated supporters, and I want to break it down for you real quick. The supporter tier gets you ad-free early access to both video and audio versions of Mulligan Brothers interviews 24 hours before it goes public. The executive tier gets you everything that a supporter tier gets, plus more. Exclusive interviews and behind the scenes content, walk and talks, daily routines, unreleased interviews, the stuff that you don't see anywhere else. And finally, the executive producer tier. Everything from the supporter tier and the executive tier, plus exclusive perks. Access to our treatment packages. Be the first to see which guests are coming up and get insight into the topics we'll be discussing before anyone else. And you'll even get an executive producer credit on every single documentary that we make. So if you've ever wanted to support the Mulligan Brothers mission of inspiring change so we can go around the world and get these stories that nobody else will, this is exactly how you do it. Go to patreon.com/Mulligan Brothers or click the link in the description or scan the QR code on screen. Join the community and help us inspire change.